Let's talk AFL, and joining us in the Informer studio, as he does each and every week, Alex Caiafa. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, George.
Well, we're on the cusp of a brand new season. The matches, the pre-season practice games have started, and already there's a problem. And dare I say it, another rule change is causing grief.
It is another rule change, and just something, us in the AFL community sometimes sit there and think, why do we need to keep changing it? But here we are, we've got a new rule change with the stand on the mark rule. So the rule is the guy that's standing on the mark is not allowed to move at all, despite the other player moving around to go and kick the ball. And
so what they've done for a lifetime, they've got to change.
Yeah, they do, and it's caused a bit of controversy at the moment. A few silly little 50-metre penalties, which I gather that come round one, we're going to see plenty more of that to come. And my concern is as much as the rest of the AFL community, why do we need this? It's changed the game completely, and it will change the game completely. I understand we want more attacking, we want the game to be a bit more entertaining, but at what cost?
Do you want to see a game won or lost depending on whether someone moves off the mark?
No, and it's a really ugly look if that does cost someone a game. So.
You mentioned the first round.
Yep.
Some good news for the first game, the traditional first game at the G between Carlton and Richmond. What's happening?
So there's plans in place for 50,000 fans to be at the MCG, which is a really big number and a huge jump on what the cricket were getting. Yeah. They were getting around 25, 30,000. So the AFL potentially getting 50 is massive for them, and it's big for Richmond too. They're the first AFL club in history to unfurl 2 flags in the same night. As disappointing as it is as a Carlton supporter to see that, but you've got to give them credit; they deserve it.
We could dampen their spirits by beating them.
It could.
Speaking of spirits being broken, I'm hearing a lot of noise coming out of Tasmania. What's going on?
Yeah, so Peter Gutwin, the Premier of Tasmania, he's come out and almost drawn a line in the sand and potentially might walk away from their current contracts with North Melbourne and Hawthorn if there's no concrete timeline on when Tasmania could get an AFL licence. Now,
so they're saying, come on, we want our own team.
We want our own team. And North Melbourne and North Melbourne and Hawthorn's current contract in Tasmania runs out at the end of the year as well. So it's a pretty big thing.
Could this force the AFL to consider talking to North Melbourne and saying, look, you might have to become the Tasmanian Kangaroos?
I think there has been plenty of discussion about that in the past, but I can't see a relocation.
All right, let's not create a revolution. Some bad news. St Kilda have lost another player to injury. Who is the player?
Yes, so last week in their intra-club game, Ben Patton, who's one of their promising young players down back, the game actually had to be stopped because it was quite a sickening injury. So he's broken his leg, and he will be out for the entire 2021 season, which is a real shame because he was coming along really nicely last year and was one of those many Saints that was starting to prove their worth and starting to prove and show exactly what they could do. So it's a big loss for the Saints, and it's such a shame for Ben, and we wish nothing but the best.
And more injury news coming out of Icon Park.
Yeah, so Carlton have got a couple of injury worries at the moment. So Nick Newman has had a knee setback. He injured his knee in round 2, or actually round 1 last year, I should say, and he missed the entire season. And he was due to come back, and he's had a knee setback, so he's looking like he'll miss round 1. And
so
Mitch McGovern.
Are we talking a few weeks, or has he done the knee again?
No, he hasn't done the knee again. Okay. It's just a setback. So hopefully it could only be a 1-round, 2-round thing at max, which will be best case scenario.
Who's the other player?
And Mitch McGovern has also injured a hamstring.
Not a hammy.
So he's had a few injury struggles since being at the Blues, but the good thing is they're not grading this one as a serious one. So they think Carlton are pretty confident that he should be back for round 1.
Young Wingard at Hawthorn looks like he won't be fronting for the first round. What's happened there?
Yeah, he's suffered another calf strain, and he's had a previous history with this. Two of his last 3 pre-seasons with Hawthorn, he's had a calf complaint that's held him back, and he's another player who Hawthorn will need to step up, given all the changes that have been made over the years with that club. And not having him there is going to be a bit of a loss, and he's a doubt for round 1.
Well, he's a dasher, and calf strains are not a good idea. Greater Western Sydney also in trouble with injuries. One of their young stars, bad news.
Yeah, one of the young stars, Adam Kennedy, down back, he has done what new recruit Braden Bruce has done. He's needed a shoulder reconstruction, so he'll also be out for 5 months, which just adds, you know...
Mate, you can wipe the season. You can wipe the season. I cannot imagine having it done now. He can be back. If he is, it'll be freakish. Well,
you add that with Bruce, Lockie Whitfield's a doubt at the moment. They're missing a couple of, you know, big guys that they'll need for this season.
Mate, so. you spent the last 2-3 minutes giving us bad news. Come on, some good news to wrap up this segment.
There's some good news for Richmond. They've re-signed.
I don't care. Did I tell you that? No, I'm sorry.
They've re-signed 2 premiership stars in Dylan Grimes and Dion Prestia to long-term deals, which is really good news for them. Dylan Grimes, one of the best defenders in the entire competition. Dion Prestia, one of the better midfielders in the competition. So it's pretty big news for the Tigers that they're able to keep 2 of their stars around for a little while longer.
All right. There is talk, though, that one of the biggest Tigers of all, a guy called Dustin Martin, may well be contemplating finishing his career in the city with that great hangar called the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Is there any truth to that? Are you hearing what I'm hearing?
There has been a bit of truth to that, but I want to put a dampen on that a little bit. I just can't see it happening, given when he was a junior, he grew up in Sydney and actually wanted to move back to Victoria to play.
Things change, though.
Things change when money talks, but I personally can't see it happening.
Alex Caiafa, as he does each and every week, brings us up to date with the latest happenings in the AFL. And as you heard, they're having some problems with the brand new rule. No surprises. Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, George.